this crowd. This is great, isn't it? Great, great, great. Lou talked about it, and one of the key foundations of 1 Million Cups is to have conversation and share ideas in a really supportive environment, and that's what we do here. And thanks to some of those folks who founded this group 11 years ago, that's why we're all here today sharing ideas. So I'm going to have an introduction here, a couple people. What we like to do is go back and do what we call refills. So we have folks that have done presentations here before, and we have them come back and say, hey, how's it going now? So we're going to catch up with 2 of them, and we're going to have a conversation up here with Casey. So let me give you some bios here of who we're going to be hearing from today. Michael Benedict is going to be one of our guests here. So Michael was born to be in advertising. His father, who is right here in the audience, along with us today. Come on, that guy deserves a round, right? He grew up in his father's agency. He eventually bought it in 2007. And he cut his teeth primarily in travel and tourism, but he's been in all the consumer industries and done a lot of B2B advertising, so he knows all of that. He's also been really active in the community. He's a co-founder of the Daytona Beach Young Professionals organization here. He's past president of the Marketing Communication Agency Network, and he was former president of the Daytona Beach Advertising Foundation. I am contractually obligated to say this, but as a proud graduate of the University of Florida, he's responsible for strategic thinking. So he got an entrepreneurial spirit also from his parents. And so one of the things he did was he started a restaurant group. Brilliant idea, right? Not an easy business to operate if you've been in that industry. But he has two longtime friends that he worked with. They opened up Jimmy Hula's. And he opened up Huey Magoo's. They currently have 4 locations of each brand that they operate now. The entrepreneur bug also bit him again to open a brewery in Port Orange. That was a few years back, and he called on some more longtime friends, and thus was Dunes Brewing open, right? Well, been there, great. So he's constantly coming up with ideas for his next business. He's going to be one of our speakers. I give you Michael Benedict. Where is he? Over in the corner. There he is. Our other presenter today. So life throws us curves as entrepreneurs, doesn't it? Never a straight line. So Jen, she had some unexpected curveballs come into life with a downturn in the housing industry. So it led her on her current 10-year journey. Faced with unemployment and a family to support, she took a seemingly small step, which was cleaning vacation rentals. What started as a necessity quickly became her passion. She started a company called Just Peachy Clean. We're familiar with that one. JPC today isn't about sparkling surfaces, it's about supporting other small businesses. She understands the challenge of entrepreneurs and small businesses firsthand because she's faced them herself over the last 10 years. Her story isn't about cleaning, but it's about resilience and empowerment. We all have to deal with the curves that they throw us as entrepreneurs. She's done it for the past 10 years. Looking ahead, she embraces the unknown with the same open-mindedness and zest that birthed Just Peachy Clean. Today, she leads a team that shares her values and creates a positive impact on the business and community. Jen is the founder of Just Peachy Clean. She's the mother of 2 great boys and the wife of an Army veteran since 1999. And she is a Florida native. I give you Jen Rogers over here for Just Peachy Clean. One of our great organizers, and she is great at this gig that we give her once a year. Our host is going to be Casey Williams. Where'd she go? She's right in front of me here. Yeah. Casey is a mental health therapist. She's an entrepreneur, and she's a community connector who's been a part of 1MC Daytona Beach since October of 2022. She joined the organizer team in February of 23, so she's serving her 3rd year as our host for these refills that we have going on here. Outside of 1MC, she runs her own counseling and consulting practice, helping people reconnect with themselves and building more balanced, fulfilled lives that all of us as entrepreneurs need. So I give you Casey Williams. She's going to be giving us something up.
Hello.
There you go. Cool.
And I'd also be remiss if I didn't introduce my service dog, Moki. This is his first debut on the 1MC stage, so. Sit. Lay down. Thank you. Good boy. Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and a special thanks to Michael and Jen for being here. I'm so incredibly excited to be interviewing you both today, and to have you all share your experience and wisdom with our lovely communities. So we're going to jump right into it and start by taking a trip down memory lane. So with our anniversary today, I'm curious if you guys can share with us, how did you get originally connected to 1 Million Cups?
It probably was close to the 11 years. That's why I chose that picture. It was 11 years ago. So I'm sure I was kind of informed for the event. But Jack over here and another gentleman, Tyler LeCompte, and probably Lou and probably a number of other people invited me to one early on. And I think it was the first time we had something in this community that really was not a sanctioned-ish, I mean, like as a government-sanctioned type entrepreneur thing that was helpful, and I think it's blossomed a tremendous amount of other ones too, which has been phenomenal to see, because those resources weren't really readily, or at least present, when I started my journey out. Well, sort of, started out at a really young age, but yeah, so there's a couple of friends I had met in the area that had invited me to one, and been coming here and there ever since.
Wonderful. For you, Jen?
Yeah, for me it was Sean. I run into him, I've known him for ages, and I had run into him years ago, and he had talked about it, and then he kept talking to me saying, you need to come present, you need to come present. And I'm like, oh, whatever, okay, I'm not gonna come present. He's like, no, they need to hear your story, they need to hear your story. And so finally I came to a couple of the meetings and then signed up to present, and so that's kind of been here ever since. I try to get here as much as possible.
No, that's wonderful, and I would always be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my connection to 1MC, Mr. Andy Clark. After winning the All Awards Storage Entrepreneurship Grant, he said, the only thing I ask in return is that you check out 1MC. And I showed up here, didn't know a soul, but as soon as I walked in, of course, Valerie Wee was the first person I ran into, and I didn't meet a stranger in this room. So I appreciate you know, listening to Sean and his persistence and getting you here. That's
Very
fantastic.
persistent.
Absolutely. So I know that we just, in your bio, we talked a little bit, especially for you, Michael, about your family history and entrepreneurship. But I'm curious, what originally got you guys into entrepreneurship? Was it a moment? Was it a calling? Yeah, how did you get started in this journey?
Yeah, so for me, it was sheer desperation. We needed money, and like they said in my bio, my husband and I both worked in the construction industry for years and years. I was in the nonprofit sector. He was in the big machinery sector, and over the course of about a year and a half, I lost my job, and he went from 47 hours guaranteed every week down to 32, which is, I don't know if you know overtime, but that's a pretty big hit. And so we were just kind of left scrambling, and so he actually got a second job working nights. I ended up working like 4 different jobs. I was waiting tables, I was doing some sales, I was doing some bookkeeping, and then my neighbor owned a cleaning business, cleaning vacation rentals, and she asked if I wanted to start doing that, so I said, why not? We need food, right? We had a small 1-year-old at the time, and so I started cleaning with her, and slowly she got out of the residential side of cleaning because she wanted to manage the Airbnbs. And when she did that, there were a couple of her residential clients that she asked if I wanted to take, and I said sure, because I needed money. So I took those on, and this was, gosh, about 13 years ago now, and it just started to grow, and I started by word of mouth just getting more and more clients and more people wanting me, and slowly started dropping off some of the 4 jobs that I had. And at one point, my husband and I sat back and I said, listen, I can't take on any more cleaning clients with these other jobs. Are we going to go all in, and I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do it right? Or do I need to rely on the actual steady paycheck that comes with having a W-2 job, right? And he said, nope, let's go for it. Let's see what's going to happen. And I have to say that God has blessed our steps every single day. There has never been a time since starting this, which I know my story is unique, 13 years ago, that I have ever gone, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills this week, and I don't know how I'm going to make payroll. Fortunately, we have been blessed. We now have a team of 18 full-time cleaning technicians. We've got 3 office staff. We've got a beautiful office over on Bevel Road, and hopefully soon to be in the process of buying a building of our own. And it's very exciting, and so that's how I landed here. That's the very Cliff Notes version.
I love it. Absolutely incredible. And you took a calculated risk and it paid off, and I appreciate that. Yeah, giving gratitude for the blessings and just really being mindful about each step. But it's been a beautiful journey.
It absolutely has. It hasn't been without its complications and tear-filled nights and things like that. I'm not going to say that it was easy at any point, but it's 100% been worth it.
And for you, Michael.
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate to grow up in an entrepreneurial-driven family. I have brothers that also try a lot of crazy things, but I think the earliest thing I did, is you watch your parents try things and you're like, well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to make some money. So I convinced one of my brothers to go out with our wagon, and we stole newspapers and we tried to resell them back to everybody. You learn there's some things you shouldn't do. It was the idea of making money, but not on the foundations of the right ways to do it. And luckily I was corrected pretty well. And so it was a very good lesson to learn. Very young, but we didn't know any better. We just thought it'd be fun to do and make a little money. Horrible idea now. There's not even newspapers to do that anymore. So that's, but we've always, there's so many ups and downs in business. So I've failed, as Lou mentioned, failure is such a key ingredient to success. I failed so many times, but I was fortunate. I got to be, most of my business adventures, I've taken what other people have done and made them my own. And so I have launched my own things as well. And I do want to say one thing about entrepreneurs. It's not just business. Creating ideas or societal changes or a charitable group or creating change in our lifestyle, to me, is the same mindset. Creating a charity that can help raise money is just, and benefit a group, or changing how things are done, to me is the entrepreneurial spirit. So I don't want it to ever be caveated into just a business-minded, because I've also created and helped, or been a fortunate part of the creation of a lot of things that have lived way beyond myself, and that's just as satisfying as a successful business. So I don't know if that answers the question exactly or not.
No, absolutely. No, that's brilliant. And I definitely agree that, even though oftentimes entrepreneurship is a solo venture, or it starts off that way, I'm sure we all are a part of other communities, whether you're a W-2 employee, but to be able to create your own community, something that serves, your heart's desire, but also the ripple effect, the impact it has on the rest of the community, and to be able to foster that and bring people together, I think is one of the beautiful natural consequences of entrepreneurship. Yeah. So we obviously have 2 very different ways that we got involved in entrepreneurship, and yet even with the different beginnings, going through the journey of entrepreneurship, there's a lot that changes about a person. And so I'm curious, what is something that you guys feel has changed most for you since becoming a business owner?
Oh man, that's a great question. Some I probably don't want to admit that's changed. I feel I have to remind myself there's a lot of good people in the world. As an entrepreneur, you do get let down a lot, and I take a lot of blame for that personally. That I didn't give good guidance, I didn't give good education, I didn't put them in the right place to be successful. But you do get let down, and I think that's a alignment of mission and core and communication and being very clear about that. So I've tried to remind myself that just because a person didn't work out or a team wasn't successful, that doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean they're ill, trying to get you. But sometimes, you know, when you lose a business over it, it's extremely stressful and hurtful. But I try to bring it back to myself. But there's times that I've probably said, my wife's here, so I probably said some choice words about some people I regret. But you know, at the end of the day, I try to remind myself, you know, we're all in this together. I mean, that, you know, an employee also has things they have to do. There's other things in their lives way more important probably than the business at hand. And just because it's my idea and I'm excited about it, you know, if I'm not communicating that well enough and I'm not inspiring well enough, you know, I ultimately am the one to blame. And so I try to look at that more. It's difficult some days though, but.
No, absolutely.
Trying to be open and candid here.
Sure, holding space for someone's humanity, but also the business professional side of things. Yeah, absolutely. That's a tall order for sure.
I absolutely love that, and I don't know if you've read the book Extreme Ownership, but basically everything that you just said is in that book. If you've not read it, it's a great book, especially if you are a leader, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to you, and like you just said, you realize that sometimes maybe you didn't train the person correct, or it wasn't the right hire, or whatever. For me, if you had met me even 4 years ago, I'm a completely different person than I was. Very much a people pleaser, still a little bit of a people pleaser, but not near as much as I was, because you have to learn in this entrepreneurship journey and any business journey is that you can't please everybody, unfortunately. You can try your hardest, but we are all human, we're gonna make mistakes, and it's how you come back from those mistakes. It's how you handle those mistakes, and understanding that giving grace where grace is due, taking ownership, but becoming the leader that your team needs. You can't go in and shout at people and yell at people and expect them to give you their best. That's not how it works. People are not going to want to be invested in an owner or a boss who belittles them or makes them feel less than. My team is amazing, and I try to show them every day how much I appreciate them, because truly without them we wouldn't have the business that we have now. We try to take very good care of our team. So the leader that I was 4 years ago and the leader that I am today, I feel like is a night and day version.
Yeah, absolutely. I very much appreciate that too. You know, thinking about, as you were speaking, my therapist brain comes online, and I think about the importance of self-compassion. And our ability to have compassion for other people is only limited by our ability to have compassion for ourselves. And so being able to build that self-compassion, when you take that full ownership, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You own your failures, but you also get to own your successes. But also understanding that having compassion both for yourself and others is not at the expense of accountability. So it's a delicate dance to navigate that, both with yourselves, but also the people that you lead.
Yeah, it's very hard, especially when you grew up in a people-pleasing family.
Yes.
You want to make everybody happy, but some people are just not going to be happy, and you have to understand that.
Yeah, and accept that, and not shame or blame or think less of yourself, because that is an inevitability. Yeah, absolutely. So both of you had mentioned in some facet or another, Michael, you said, yep, there's been some failures. Jen, your journey has not been easy. There's been blood, sweat, and tears poured into it. So, you know, obviously a big part of entrepreneurship, as we heard Carlos talk about in his intro video, is that there's a lot of risk involved. And you're betting on yourself, you're betting on your idea. And so I'm curious, as business owners, how do you guys handle uncertainty?
I wouldn't be able to do it without my husband. He is my rock. We've been married, this year will be 31 years, or 26 years, sorry. 30 years together. 30, because it's 30 years together, 26 years married. So it feels like forever. But he was my high school sweetheart. He's an Army veteran. I love him dearly, and he supports every single ridiculous whim that I ever come up with, every idea. And when it fails, he's there to pick me up. When it is successful, he's there to celebrate. When I have those nights that I come home and I curse an employee because they've done something awful, he's the one to hold me and, try not to leave and, go take care of the person. But he is definitely, you have to have a support system 100%, and he is it for me. Along with the entrepreneurs that I've surrounded myself. I have several really close friends that are also entrepreneurs in the same industry that I'm in. I highly recommend becoming friends with people outside of your area in the same industry. because they know your struggles. I can call them up and say, oh my gosh, we had this client today, or oh my gosh, my employee did this, or said this, or whatever, and they talk me off the ledge. They walk me through how to handle it and move forward. So you have to have a support system. So for me, it's my husband and my best friends in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, God bless you and your husband. That is an incredible accomplishment. And no, truly, and happy belated Veterans Day to him as well. But I really appreciate your understanding of having both your personal support and network, but also your professional network. That consultation piece is so critical to success. So,
Well, yeah, because as much as he wants to support me, he doesn't fully get it. Like, he will support me in my personal side 100%, but he doesn't understand the business side. He doesn't understand the employee side. And if he were my HR person, we'd be sued a long time ago. But those friends that are in the industry, especially because they're in my industry, they understand it. They understand the ebbs and flows. They understand how to, come at it with a cool head. They've probably gone through the exact same thing. So for them to be able to pour into me as well, I've called them many times crying and unsure of what I was going to do. And they just talk me through it. And they help me come up with a plan and how to guide and coach my team.
that's wonderful. What about for you, Michael?
Well, I mean, my earlier comment about the pain of a bad or employee that didn't work out. The flip side of that is having an unbelievable team that does believe in where we're headed. And there's a number of them here today, so thank you guys for coming and supporting me. Having that, to be able to have those conversations where you're very open about where you're headed and having that support has been good. I'm also part of an organization that focuses on 3 pillars of personal growth, family growth, and business growth, and having mentors or helpers in each part of that has been extremely beneficial. And if you haven't found a mentor in anything you do, I highly recommend just find that person that you think is doing a great job and go ask them to be your mentor. And I'm even open to that too. Today, hopefully I don't get a ton of people because I have time. But if you can't give back, then you shouldn't take. And I do take a lot, and so I do try to give back a lot. But almost every single person I've asked, I had some people tell me no, which I'm okay. I hear no a lot. But asking for someone for advice and help, most people are happy to share that, what they've learned. And I would say even in the restaurant industry, which has been a very difficult business to learn, I'm still learning a lot. I'm only in it 30 years, so it's still a very good learning curve. But even that, where it's such a competitive market, it's the people that share the most. I mean, because I feel like we all have that pain and issue, and it's probably true in a lot of businesses. But just asking for help or asking for advice or asking, hey, how did you do that? How did you overcome that? It's unbelievable amount of information that's shared and has been extremely helpful for me. So that's been one of the things that's helped a lot.
No, absolutely. And that give and take, being able to pass that on to more people. And I think one thing that stands out to me in what you just said is the abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. And what you had said earlier, Michael, about, taking, or maybe it was Lou that had said that, taking ideas and putting your own twist on it and adding your own authenticity, and so you can share your blueprint, your experience, your wisdom with people, but to be able to copy and paste isn't really how that works, because we all have our own essence and spirit and mind and unique qualities. So yeah, being able to bounce ideas off of people and take what you need and put your own twist on it. But yes, the mentorship piece is so critical, and I appreciate your willingness to pay it forward as well. Yeah, absolutely. So in the realm, because obviously you own multiple businesses, and Jen, you've got just Peachy, but I know you do 1,000,001 other things as well. So I'm curious, for other people that are also serial entrepreneurs or balancing multiple projects, how do you guys discern where to invest your focus without losing, the sight of the mission, and without getting burnt out? How do you manage that?
daily. So, it's, there's never going to be enough time in the day, and that's okay. Yeah, and once you come to that grips that you're just not going to get to it today, prioritization is important, and delegation is important, and then trust is important. I mean, every step of the way. And look, I've got 100 problems. Today I'm going to have 100 things go wrong. 100, and that's, if you're in the restaurant business, you know that that's no lie. And when you have multiple restaurants and other businesses and properties you own, you're going to have so many issues go wrong. They're going to all upset you to some degree. You obviously take the biggest fire and try to fix it, but you also have to look at the biggest opportunities too. And so in all those problems, there's also, most of them are huge opportunities to turn it around, be successful. And so you have to look at each one, and it's hard to have a blueprint for that because I have no idea what my day is going to look like, except I know I'm going to be dealing with a lot of problems. And I guess I'm fortunate. I grew up in a scenario where, my dad's here and my mom too. They taught us how to just, not ignore adversity, but just move forward. Just take a step forward. Just take a step forward. And and I guess I do have a lot of people tell me I don't know how you do it, and I'm just thinking there's no other way. I have to just do it. I have to move forward. I'm not going to let this sink me, because I want to be successful. I want to give back to my community. I want to be a part of my community. I want to be a good parent. I want to be a good spouse. I want to be a good friend. And I can't let all that negativity. And most of it's ill steered. It's not. If you look at restaurant reviews, which I don't ever anymore, ever, absolutely ever, and I should, because there's good bits of wisdom in there.
Something to
But the
delegate.
amount of people that can hide behind a computer screen and the things they say to people are just, you question humanity to a degree. But they probably have something going on in their life that's horrible. And so they're just taking that and putting it somewhere else, and that's what we try to train our team. Like, they're not mad at you. Something's wrong. You just got to feel compassion for them and try to solve as best you can. But you're not going to, someone said earlier, you're not going to make everybody happy. And that's okay. As long as you do it in the right guidance and hopefully so every day, I just look at it and go, okay, let's go.
No, and that's a really critical skill, that flexibility, adaptability, because you're right. What's the saying? Man plans and God laughs. So even if you came up with a super structured blueprint, you've got to be able to pivot on a dime. So I appreciate you being more intention-based on that, rather than saying, well, here's the equation for, yeah, absolutely. And for you, Joe?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it falls along the same lines of what he was saying. I do have just Peachy Clean, but I also have a small consulting business that I've started, and we're in the process of buying a building, and then my husband and son have started their own thing, and so there are a lot of irons in the fire, and we just kind of take what's the most important at the moment. A big part of that, though, is being able to delegate to my team. I have an amazing office staff right now that, for Just Peachy Clean, they handle the majority of the day-to-day, and I am truly the visionary in that group, and I've got to have the integrators, I've got to have the implementers in the office, and they are the ones that are taking care of it. But along what he was saying, you're going to have fires, you're going to have people, and not just behind a keyboard. We have people that call us and are just nasty over the phone, and it's a weird season that we're in that everybody is angry. And they're angry at nobody, really. And they call up, and our team is amazing at dealing with those types of interactions and still trying to bring the calm to the chaos. But understanding that what's happening in the world outside of your business is affecting everybody. And so that you may have a negative interaction with that one person this one time, but it truly could be because it was that last little straw on that stack that did it for them. You missed for us, we missed a fan. Oh my gosh, the world is ending because we missed your ceiling fan. And while it doesn't seem like a big deal to us because we deal with a million ceiling fans every day, that could have been the most important thing to them, and that was just it for the day. So having a team that can really step up and take ownership in their role and take care of the things that they need to take care of. There were many years that it was just me, and I was still cleaning and doing all of the admin and doing all of the things, and it was a lot to manage. I'm very thankful now that we've gotten to a place where we can have staff, but you've got to be able to delegate, you've got to be able to trust the people that you are delegating to. They have to have really solid role clarity, and they have to have autonomy in their role. You have to trust them to make certain decisions, giving them the decision-making framework that they need so that when you aren't in the office, they can continue to move forward and they aren't hung up and having you as the bottleneck.
No, absolutely. And that's a great segue to our next question, because one, I can just say I personally relate to the struggle of delegation, of releasing control, and then also having to lead somebody. That's a big part of releasing that control too. And so I'm curious, as your roles evolved from doers to leaders, what parts of entrepreneurship did you have to grieve, and what new parts of yourself did you have to grow into?
So for me, I'm going to be honest, I know a lot of people aren't going to believe me, but I loved the cleaning. I don't like cleaning my own house. I don't want to clean my own house. That's a whole different story because I get bogged down in all the garbage. But I loved going in and transforming spaces. I love being able to make people have this beautiful before and after. And I'm getting a little emotional about it. I miss that part of it. I apologize. I didn't think that was going to hit me. But transitioning to be the business owner and to becoming the CEO of my company, which was something I have never been trained for, I didn't go to school for, I didn't anticipate this ever being a part of my story, is so rewarding. It's so difficult. And even the people directly underneath you, and even the people working with you every day, they don't see it, because it is a very lonely road if you choose to become an entrepreneur. Even your closest friends, your staff, your spouse, whoever, it's lonely because they don't understand the struggles. And you can only talk to your friends about so much. You don't want to go to them with any sort of financial struggles you have, or you don't want to go with them if you've had a kick-ass month and you have the best revenue ever, because it seems like you're bragging. You don't want them to see your failures because that's hard, and you don't want to talk about your employees, because then it's just like, why don't you fire them? Or why don't you just leave this and just go, get a real job or something like that? And sometimes when you have a business, especially in the cleaning industry, people tend to look at it as like not a real thing. And I feel like I'm constantly defending no, we have built something amazing. And I don't even think it was until earlier this year I was awarded in our industry, the coaching industry, it's a green jacket, and it's for being in the top 5% in the United States for the industry that we're in, business-wise. And I flew my husband and my kids and my mom and my dad out to watch me get the award, and I think that was finally when it kicked into my parents that I'm not just cleaning houses anymore, that I have created a business, that we have created something that's pretty special. I think I completely got off track, but
That was brilliant.
That's my answer.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, I was paying attention to Jen, so I forgot. The question was, how do you go from CEO to, or from
from
worker to
doer to
CEO?
leader, and what did you have to grieve, and what did you have to grow into?
Well, luckily I had the person that was in front of me was ready to retire probably a few years before I even got there. So I had no choice. I had to take over. So I was thrust into it, but he was still there, luckily. I'm talking about my dad. And I got to, use him as a sounding board for everything. But we had different management styles. I mean, we totally wanted to run the company a little, run the same thought pattern of how we handle business, but how we handle employees and stuff was different. And it's still a test. I mean, it's always, I'm always learning. We have microcosms of experimentation we do in the business, whether it's internal with staffing or with clients and what we present, or what we try in restaurants or what we try with management. I mean, it's, I guess the CEO part of that title is the final decision making, I guess, is the difference. But other than that, we give a tremendous amount, or I guess I say this, I give a tremendous amount of decision making capabilities to almost everybody. I'd rather them fail. I clearly want to be successful, but if they don't fail, they don't ever learn. And I can't jump in and help. And we try to teach everybody that has people under them that same mentality. Let the team make a decision, support the decision, help guide them to the right decision. But then if they fail, pick them up and show them why and move forward. Because almost 99 out of 100 times it's not fatal. I mean, and I don't mean fatal as in death. I mean fatal as in it's going to kill the business. Sometimes it is, and that happens, and that's also a very cathartic experience. But I guess the CEO transition is making a final stay that you can't come back from. Because when the CEO makes that decision, that's it. I can't tell a client, hey, I made that decision yesterday, but I'm changing my mind. But if someone else made that decision, I can come and go, hey, we didn't have a chance to really vet that. Here's potentially what else we want to talk about. So that's probably the ultimate line, I guess, between working and CEO, in my opinion.
Sure, and that requires a heck of a lot of decisiveness and confidence to be able to say, yep, okay, this is the decision, and to follow through with it and to own the consequences, good, bad, ugly, or otherwise. Yeah, absolutely. So shifting gears a little bit back to the sense of community, I'm curious, thinking about the upcoming generation of entrepreneurs, and before we get into that, I want to talk about the role that communities like 1 Million Cups play for entrepreneurs and other entrepreneurship-based organizations. How has that been an asset to you guys? How has that influenced your growth? Obviously, we've talked about mentorship, and so I'm sure that has existed in some facet, at least within 1 Million Cups. I know that to be true. But yeah, I'm curious how the community organizations has shaped you guys and influenced your journey.
Well, quite a bit, because even if there's not one existing, you just get a couple group of friends to help start something. If you see a need for it, I mean, kind of how Lou illustrated how 1 Million Cups came about. I mean, there was a need, and the itch was too strong, and you had to scratch it, and you did it. So, I try to get here as much as it's on my calendar every Wednesday. It pops up, 1 Million Cups. I can walk here. My office is right behind here on Palmetto. So, every Wednesday I get the ding 30 minutes before, hey, 1 Million Cups. I'm not going to take it off my calendar because it's from here and I can make it. And Val knows that I try to make it as much as I can, but it's probably once every 2 months. I mean, it's not a ton. I wish it was more, but my calendar and my schedule don't allow that. But it's also other organizations, and not just organizations. I think conferences. To me, if you can afford it, and I also feel like you can't not afford it, but to go and learn. I'm always amazed of business owners or people that are in the business that don't go out and try to learn more. That they think they understand. Well, I got it. I figured it out, and I'm just going to do this. And then I get it. Like business, it takes a lot out of you, and so having that free time, because it takes you away from either more business opportunities, your family, your friends, your own downtime. But to me, that learning, I guess I hope I'm always going to do it. It's been phenomenal for what I know. Now, do I put it all in practice properly? No, I failed. I messed up a lot, and I didn't think through things as best I should have. I get too excited sometimes. Like, I'm doing it, and then I'm, oh crap, I didn't think that through at all. Sometimes it's expensive, and those really hurt. But again, on the flip side, it's extremely educational. So I think these organizations are phenomenal. It doesn't matter who's up here talking. It can spur an idea completely 180 from the conversation, just because of how that person or that company addressed the issue at hand. And that to me is always neat to see how the human mind works and how they break down a situation or an opportunity and make the best of it.
No, absolutely, I very much agree. And it's one of the many things that I love about 1 Million Cups is that, like you said, it doesn't matter who's up here. I'm in a very specific industry, but somebody in a completely other world than I'm in, there's always something to be learned. And I think to your point about, when we do engage in organizations or conferences, you're right, time is money, and we're choosing to give up our time where we could be actively making money in our business. And so I think that adds a level of sharpness to the people that do make that time to commit, that they're all looking to get something valuable out of this time spent together in community. And I think that really helps, elevate the room. So I very much appreciate that, even if you can't make it all the time, just having that on your calendar and having one MC just at the forefront of your mind, that in itself is also, a useful reminder.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss to not thank all of you guys for coming out. This is, it's cold,
It's
which
amazing.
sucks. It's hard to get out of bed, especially earlier, and to give up whatever you're doing. So thank you all. I mean, that's a this is a big audience. I love it. I mean, this is killer. So thank you guys, and I should have said that immediately, and I apologize for not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, ditto to everything that he said. I love this group because even sitting in the audience, and even if it's a brand new entrepreneur here who has no idea what's going on, the advice that they get spurs on other ideas for me to think about. Because at the end of the day, business is business. Yes, we all have our niches. Yes, we all have, things that are specific to our industry, but marketing is marketing. Numbers are numbers, bookkeeping is bookkeeping, at the end of the day, business is business. So when you come in here and you can get ideas and learn from other people, it makes it a little less scary when you have to do it on your own.
Absolutely, and like you said, to the new entrepreneurs, supporting them in the early parts of their journey, which leads me to one of my last questions is, what do you think keeps young, talented people from getting into entrepreneurship, and what are ways, like 1 Million Cups, what can we do as a community and as business owners to help encourage people and to remove barriers for that next generation?
I studied this question before today when I came here. And I feel like the biggest barrier for anybody, young, old, middle-aged, whatever it may be, is fear. I think it's fear of what people are going to think about them. It's fear of, if I'm going to fail, and I'm going to be honest, you're going to fail. Like, it's going to happen. Like he said, failure is part of the journey, but it's how you get back up and you keep going. But I think at the end of the day, encouraging people, if it's a ridiculous idea, then maybe talking some sense into them. But, encouraging them that, what is the worst that can happen? I had a friend that I was talking to a few days ago, and she has been talking about starting up something new. She's been a teacher for years, and she's like, I don't know, I just don't know if I can do it. I go, oh, what's the worst that can happen? There's not a lot of upfront starting costs, so just do it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least you tried, and you're not always going to have that thought in the back of your head of, what if I had done that? What if I had done that? What if it had been different? You could build something amazing, and you never know if you just sit there and you continue to go about your day-to-day and never even try.
Yeah, self-rejection before you've even given yourself a fair shake. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jen nailed it. I mean, I was thinking fear. Fear is such a motivational and demotivational item. I always wonder, does everybody have that entrepreneurial mindset? When I talked to a lot of people about it, and I have talked to people who said, I have no interest ever. And I wonder if it's fear or not, or if I wonder that the safety and security of a paycheck, because who knows where they came from. They might have came from a family that was chasing paychecks and didn't have this or that or whatever over them. And so I don't question them, but I mean, if someone has a good idea or an idea that's worth exploring, it's almost free to get it to be able to birth that idea. I mean, it's almost free. It's very few things. If you said, I want to build the Empire State Building, you don't start at the Empire State Building. You start by renting a space and creating an idea or whatever the proper pathway is. And so you don't just start massive. You build up to that concept. So I don't know why some people don't. I don't know if it truly is a mindset, and there's just people that are never going to want to do that. I know plenty of friends that are very happy working for companies, and they love it, and they think the world of it. And I think I have some people that work for me that like at least like it and enjoy it. And
Well, that's great, because we need those people too. We wouldn't.
it's a great
Not
mix.
everybody can
I mean, it is a
be
great
an
mix, and give them the opportunity to get whatever they need out of life as well. So I don't really know. I mean, my only guess would be fear, because fear is so crippling, you know. But it really is. Once you push through, it's never as bad as you thought. Not even close.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that fear piece, when I think about the analogy of, like, if you were to look at Mount Everest and you see your hero or your mentor at the top of Mount Everest, and you're like, wow, okay, so I know it's possible, but all I see are the infinite steps that it's going to take to get there. And so one thing I've learned both as an entrepreneur and as a therapist is to really get good at the skill of slicing back the goal and not discounting that any step towards progress is still a step towards progress. And it's worth celebrating. And when you can celebrate just going on to Sunbiz and registering your business, step one, check, congratulations. That is not to be valued or under celebrated. And when you can celebrate those little wins, you will be able to really relish and embrace the big wins. So yeah, just get started and focus on the next step in front of you. Yeah, thanks guys. And so I know we're at time, but I selfishly have to ask my favorite sort of sprinkled in therapeutic question is, if you guys could go back to your younger selves from the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey, what piece of advice would you give to that version of you?
I'd invest in Bitcoin. I would have had no failures except for a lot of worry in the beginning. Again, just push myself. You know, don't give up. Don't let fear be the deciding factor of what you're trying to accomplish. Talk to more people. I mean, I grew up in an environment where I didn't have many barriers. I was open to explore, open to put. I mean, from a very I stole newspapers and sold them and stuff. You know, and so you know, even that was a huge mistake, but I learned from it. And so I don't know what advice I'd give myself. Maybe be kinder, be nicer. I'm sure I could always have that in my life.
What about a piece of gratitude? What could you say thank you to that version of yourself?
That's a good question.
Think about that. I'm going to let Jen answer.
Yeah, so my advice to my younger self would have been, one, start it sooner, but do it scared. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And the older that I get, and I know that I look so young, the older that I get, the more that I realize it's all gonna happen the way it's supposed to. Good, bad, or indifferent. It is all gonna happen the way it's supposed to. Things have to happen the way they do for you to get to where you are. So just do it scared. Just jump in. And the other piece of advice, really quickly, I would have given myself is invest in coaching sooner. You don't understand the value of a coach. Specifically in your industry. It has been amazing and it's been transformational for my business. I joined a coaching program specific to my industry about 4 years ago, and since then the business has grown over 500%, and it is truly a testament to the coaching program that I joined. So do it scared, join a coaching program.
I guess I'd thank myself for staying here. I do, and I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got a great group of friends, great group of family. Met my wife here, who's also born and raised here. And it's just, I love living here. And it has become more and more every year, more open to the entrepreneurial and business. But we have everything we ever want here. So I'm happy, because I've had multiple opportunities to sell my business and move to where that company was located and be a part of theirs. And pretty exciting, at the time, exciting cities and exciting things, and I'm glad I never did that. I'm really happy I just stayed here.
Well, on behalf of 1 Million Cups and our Daytona Beach and greater Volusia County communities, I just want to say thank you both for choosing to be here and to be such pillars in our local entrepreneurship ecosystem. We are so grateful to have CEOs, founders, owners, entrepreneurs like you guys giving back to the community and helping our lovely area be as wonderful and successful as possible. So with that being said, let's give our lovely guests a round of applause. going to shift gears. I'm going to be introducing our fearless leader, Miss Valerie.